Hi, here in this video, I'm actually going to demonstrate a scenario where a Salesforce would be integrated with Citiworks. Here, we are going to use IIB as an integration tool, which provides a feature where we can actually integrate a wide range of subsystems. It also IIB also provides support for wide range of protocols like IIB, like a HTTP, FTP, MQ. So depending upon the end system, IIB can actually integrate all the different kind of subsystems with various message formats actually. Here we are assuming both the end systems as web service providers. So assuming that Salesforce can actually invoke a web service, and thereby the Citiworks is also assuming that Citiworks is running as a web service. So we built an application on IIB which will take a web service request, transform it to a required Citiworks web service message format, invoke a web service, get the response back, and route the response back all the way to the Salesforce. Right now, we are not kind of integrating with showing any integration with Oracle. We have taken a smaller part of it to kind of demonstrate the features of IIB. Okay, IIB is currently is running at version 5. Initially, at version 6.1, that's when they have provided the support for web services using SOAP. So IIB kind of provides a wide range of utilities or tools to integrate with different endpoints, different subsystems actually. So you can actually integrate with wide range of systems. Like if you have a JMS based system, you have nodes to integrate with that. You have HTTP based integration, web services. So and also you have various adapters to integrate with SAP or PeopleSoft or JD Edwards. So using IIB, you can actually integrate with wide range of systems actually. And also you can also do lots of transformations because some systems, if they're running on mainframe, they primarily use COBOL as their format. If they're using SAP, probably IDOC would be the format. Similarly here, the for web from request coming from a web service, it could be an XML, it could be transformed to a COBOL kind of a format actually. But here we are demonstrating a SOAP based XML to an XML transformation. Only the format or the structure of the message is transformed, and we invoke it and then get the response back. Uh, so I'm going to use a tool called SOAP UI, which is an utility for testing SOAP-based applications. The SOAP UI here will actually invoke the application running on IIB at this particular port. And then it actually, in turn, behind the scenes, it actually calls another web service, Citiworks web services, gets the response back, and then finally it shows the response here. Okay, I'll just remove the response here so we can actually see the request being sent and we can actually see the response here. So right now actually the application is running on debug mode. Let me turn it off so that we can actually see it much faster. So we can go back to the debug mode later. So I'll just run it and you can actually see the response coming back instantly. The reason being IIB is kind of very fast. It can process more than like around 10,000 messages per second. It can transform at very high speed. So it kind of accept the request, transform the message, invoke the backend service, got the response back, and it is giving back the response here. So it kind of done all these processes behind the scenes. So right now what I'll do is I'll run it in a slower pace where we can actually view each step in more a step-by-step fashion. I'll invoke the message, which kind of invokes the IIB. So you can actually see the yellow circle where the request is currently waiting. So what we have posted is a soap-based message. You can actually view the soap-based message here. Okay, an order message which is more of a linear format where we have first name, last name, and part numbers, quantity, and all. So now we actually kind of transform the message to a more structured format, which is required by the backend service, where we have person name, we have a hierarchy, and then we have an address, another hierarchy, and then we have part numbers. So now at this stage, we're actually kind of invoking another service, which is running at a different port, or different service name actually. So at this stage, it is actually calling an external service, and it also now it got back the response from the external service, and we can actually see the response here, and we can actually see the response message that is come here, and this message is okay. So now it's complete. Basically, it goes through the response and then puts a message to the queue and also sends a response back to the SOAP UI tool. Since we were running it slow, so it kind of timed out. We'll just quickly run it one more time so that we can also see the response on the SOAP UI. Okay, so here IIB is right now acting like a web service provider. So it provides all these web services based nodes where you have different set of nodes where IIB can act both as a web service provider or a web service requester. So when it is a web service provider, you kind of use a SOAP input node where it launches a web service application at a particular port number. And if you're actually invoking an external service, we use a web service, a SOAP request node, which will actually go invoke an external web service and gets the response back and then gives it back to the flow. Okay, so this is a small demo which will kind of simulate an environment where both the ends are web services based. And we can also simulate something similar where if one end is an MQ based one and behind the scenes there is a web service where this can also be done where the message could come from an MQ. It can transform the message to a required backend format, convert it from an MQ to a web service format, and then gets the response back and then converts back to MQ message and puts back into a queue here. So let me just quickly show you that too. Let me put a breakpoint here. So I'll write a message which invokes the flow. Uh, Here in this format, we're actually kind of getting the message from a queue, and then so here, the message is coming from a queue, you will not see that SOAP. You will actually see this MQMD that it is coming from a queue, and probably the message structure would remain same because order detail, more of a linear form, and then we transform it to more of structured form again. Then we invoke the backend application, which is running as a web service. Get the web service response. You can see that this is a SOAP message coming back. And then we transform the SOAP into an XML and back into a queue actually. So it puts the message back into a queue of this name. So we actually use another tool called RFH util, which will actually read messages or write messages to a queue, and we can actually see the message back in the